the notion that people with disability, because of our condition, excuse me to say, they see our disability before our humanity, which is wrong. We are first of all human beings before the disability came in. And a person living with disability is not less human like anybody. The Federation is an umbrella body of all persons with disabilities in Ghana. It's the voice of the Ghanaian persons living with disability in Ghana. So we do advocacy on things affecting people with disability in Ghana, across board, all type of disabilities. So we speak on behalf of all persons with disabilities, nationally, internationally, locally. It's about 10% of the Ghanaian population. Life is challenging. It's a little bit better than first, but still we have a lot of challenges because of obstacles. We have what we call accessibility. When we talk about accessibility, we are talking about the environmental challenges that people with disability will face. So, for instance, accessing the built environment, then access to information. For the people, when we are bringing out information, do we have sign language interpreters in our media? Do we have a braille copy? Do we have large prints? Do we have easy to read copies for people with disabilities of all categories? Do we have people who speak gradually or simply language for the people who cannot comprehend easily? So these are some of the challenges, like when we come to the communication. And then about the built environment. Our roads are not disability friendly. Most of our roads, it's only a few parts that have got the cross path for people with disability, a little bit accessible. Most of our buildings are not accessible to people with disability. And the education system, we are practicing inclusive education, but right now we are still advocating that the educational system should be more disability friendly, because although we are practicing inclusive education now, most of our resources and then the teaching learning materials in the various schools and the school environment is not disability friendly enough for the practice of inclusive education. I would say it's lack of commitment. The policymakers, the politicians, the law enforcement agencies, they see that there is a problem. We have very good documents, we have very good laws, and then some of them we are asking that it should be properly reviewed so it becomes standard, like the Act 715. And then we are asking our government to also ratify the African Protocol on Persons with Disabilities too. But the problem is, although we have these beautiful laws, they are not being enforced, and because of that, people with disability are still struggling to be heard and for them to access their basic human rights. thinking they are not committed is that they've been reading the budget, the national budget. I've been observing and I've been going through the budget document. I'm yet to see that they have made a specific allocation or commitment in the budget to cater for disability issues, like to make the built environment more friendly, or to take care of inclusive education, and then take care of inclusive activities, taking into consideration the needs of people with disability and the involvement of people with disability in certain activities. Although some of the laws and policies, they involve people with disability in forming them. But when it comes to the implementation parts, it's a whole lot that we are expecting from the government that we are not getting from them. And the other part you've asked concerning the journalists we are talking about, we realize that our issues, when we come out with issues, the journalists come to cover, but they don't voice out our concern. And those who even voice out, they are not taken seriously. And I don't know whether it's our editors or whoever are behind that. After they come for our activities, we expect the activities to be published in the media for people to hear about what is happening in our country concerning people with disability. But unfortunately, we don't see that. Due to that, even most people with disability are beginning to even lose the trust for journalists when they come for their program. Sometimes they say it's that maybe we are not paying them. At times they do pay them. We take the contract, take the pay to pay. But we realize that after the activities, our activities are not usually published the way we want it with our consent. We have a statement that nothing for us without us. When you want to hear and know more about what is happening with people with disability, I think the best group of people for you to contact is the people with disability themselves. For us to express exactly what is our concern or what we want, or what will fit us or what will suit us. In our country, Ghana, we have this almost similar issues about this national health insurance. For instance, we have a lot of children who are special needs children who need to undergo some operation, basic operation to correct their disability, but they cannot afford it. And I sometimes wonder what kind of insurance we have when the person is in need cannot access it. Looking at the medicines that we give for persons with disability, like people who are suffering from albinism, they need some cream to protect their skin. There should be a policy that to cover that kind of medication for people with albinism. Then we should have some people need some medication like their mental health so that it can maintain their health status, and other categories of persons with disabilities that need certain medication to maintain their good health. But unfortunately, some of these medicines are not in the national health insurance. And even if they are there, they are not covered by the national health insurance. And our people have to buy, and they are very expensive to buy. Stigmatization was very high, but fortunately for us, right now, we say the stigmatization have gone down, although it's not all that the best. We still expect more from the government. Because of sensitization advocacy, the stigmatization have now come down a little bit, but there's still room for improvement. So discrimination, yes, for the discrimination aspect is there. A lot of people still have the notion that people with disability, because of our condition, excuse me to say, they see our disability before our humanity, which is wrong. We are first of all human beings before the disability came in. And a person living with disability is not less human like any other person. We have the capabilities, we have the abilities like any other person in the world that can, if given the chance and then given the right environment. Most of the time, the disability comes when the right environment is not created. So for instance, let me take myself, who is physically challenged. If you have an access environment, like this building that we are in is a story building, there's an elevator here or a lift here. Because of the lift, I don't feel the hindrance or any limitation. I can move like any other person up and down this story building. But if the elevator is not there or the lift is not there, then that is where my disability or my challenge will come in. So for Ghana to be more disability friendly, we are calling upon the government that they should look at the high-rising buildings, the roads, the gutters, the school environment, our health institutions, the health services, we have lack of sign language interpreters for our hearing impaired brothers and sisters. When they go to access the health services, they find it difficult to access it. Our visually impaired brothers and sisters, some of our drugs and our documents are written in print and they cannot read it. When it comes to that, the instructions and basic things that they need to know about the dangers, the cautions on those places, they are not able to get it, all because of their disability, which is very wrong. Certain things are just basic human rights that I think the governments need to put in place. As a member of the Minority Rights Group International, what I'm taking home is that the activists and the journalists should work hand in hand. And the journalists should always come to the people with to find out from the activists or the affected minority groups to know exactly what is happening with them. They shouldn't stand somewhere and assume things on our behalf. We have realized that there is a lot of wrong assumption concerning things that are happening, especially concerning people with disabilities. People tend to think for us, they tend to assume things or to work or take certain actions on behalf of us, which to us is wrong. One, because they sometimes end up speaking or saying things that actually are not what we really want. What we actually want is that the people, they should get closer to us, listen to our side of the story, and come and find out how best they can help solve our problem, or they can help bring out our concerns to the general public, and how best or the suggested solution that the organizations can give out to stakeholders, to ministries, to the government, to help bring the best out of people with disability. We know that disability is not inability. When given the needed resources, the right environment, people with disability can be more productive and contribute to every country's development when given the chance. So minority rights, when we talk about minority rights, a lot of people look at it as a basic human right, or just a few group of people. But the fact is, right now, we are in a minority. Those of you listening and watching, you can be in the minority the next time. So when we are talking about the minority right, it's a basic human right. It can be anybody at any time. So we should take it as a very serious issue and then contribute. Whether you are in that group or not, let's see how best we can bring all those basic human rights together to make life comfortable for everybody in the world. And when we do this, a lot of war will stop, there will be a lot of peace, and people will begin to understand each other. And I think the world will be a better place for all of us.